Hello class. So today we're going to be building resumes and we're going to start with the KWL chart. So what this chart is it has three columns, and in the first column I want you to write what you already know about resumes. In the second column I want you to write a few things that you would like to know about resumes, such as how to fill them out and just a couple other ideas. And in the third column is going to be what you learn from this video. So I want you to take a moment now to pause the video. I want you to be able to kind of list a couple things that you already know, what you want to know. And then as you watch the video, I want you to fill out what you learned. And I want you to bring these to class tomorrow so you can show me everything that you guys learned. And then I can see that you watched the video. So we're going to start with what's the purpose of a resume. So what does it do for us, and why do we actually need to create one? So what a resume really is it's a document that you give to your employers or possibly future employers when you're applying for a job. So this document pretty much just displays your qualifications to the employer, what qualities you have, skills you might have, what kind of education you have that really sets you above any other people. So really it's kind of a document to brag about yourself and all your accomplishments. And it typically won't be over 1 page long, especially since you guys are all high school students, so you don't have a whole lot of prior experiences to put on your resume. So the ultimate goal of a resume is to get you called in for an interview with this employer. So all of this stuff that you're putting on here to brag about yourself is really just to get you called back for an interview. The key parts to a resume: we have a heading. So this heading is going to include your name, your contact information, so probably a cell phone number. It'll have an email address. It'll have probably an address for where they can get a hold of you if they need to send you something. And it's just kind of your key information that they need to know how to contact you. As far as education, you need to write your highest level of education. For most of you guys, this would be a high school diploma. If you're coming straight out of high school, it might be a college education in the future when you're writing a resume in the future. And then you need to know, they want to know where you got your education from, what your degree is, and just kind of that basic information that, I want to know who I'm hiring or where they came from. Thirdly, we have experience. They want to know your prior experience, so your past job experience. They want to know where you've worked at before. They kind of want to know what your job was. So if I was working for Staples here in Orange City, then I might put I worked on the floor, so I might have been packing boxes. Or they want to know if I was in the office doing payroll. So you kind of want to give them a little bit of key information. Next, we want activities. So any activities that you might be involved in. This could be like, I don't know, if you're part of a band, if you're part of the basketball team, so they know that you have experience working with teams. And then basically a summary of some skills that you might have and some key things that might display these skills. So things that we want to include on our resume is experience that display our skills. So this might be, like we talked about the basketball team, you played on a team that was very successful, so you learned how to put a team first and have a real teamwork aspect on things. So maybe you work great with people. So how can you relate your skills to your experience? So maybe write down an experience and put, this helped you to become great with working with Excel, or kind of just brag about these experiences that you have that maybe not a lot of other people have. Your prior work experiences, so these are your previous jobs. If you worked at Hardee's, it's prior work experience. You know what? They might think, wow, this guy he worked at Hardee's, he knows how to work with people, with customers, and they might not have been happy customers all the time. So you want to write down your previous work experiences and the dates you worked there. So if you're still working there part-time, then you might just want to put maybe from spring of 2019 through present. And they kind of want to know, like, just kind of the dates and just kind of a background information. It's just something that employers kind of look for. Education, we talked about this. It's where you went to school, your school related experiences. School-related experiences we'll talk a little bit more about later. So maybe they want to know these experiences that you've had a part of. Fundraising for charity or teams. Maybe you helped put together a big canned food drive or something, or maybe you helped fundraise and you had a little bit of sales experience where you had to sell yourself to other people. Because this is pretty much what you're doing. You're selling yourself to other people through this resume. As far as volunteer experiences, maybe you worked in a food bank. You worked practicum replacements in a job or a school where maybe if you're going to be a teacher, they think highly of a certain school, and you know what? You spent a lot of time in that school. You want to tell them that. You want to put this on your resume so they can think, wow, this student is a step above other students. Maybe you had an internship at some company in town. Don't be afraid to put these experiences down. They want to know what you're all involved in. They want to know what kind of skills that you may have gotten from these. So some examples of things you could put down would be a Bible school helper, a mission trip that you went on, or a spring service project. Do you tutor other students in your free time after school? Is that something that you're into? Are there any clubs that you participate in? Are you part of a chess club? I wouldn't include like the head lettuce eating challenge or whatever, that club. That club probably isn't something that needs to be on here. You want to have stuff that still relates to the job that you're trying to apply for. Things not to include. A resume is not a place for you to put your references. Typically, you'll find that on an application, but we don't need to list anybody else's phone number or anything on a resume. We don't want to put our hobbies, so I don't want to put that I like hanging out with friends in my free time. These are all something that you can discuss in your interview when they ask you about yourself, but that's not something that really shows them that you're qualified for a job. Another thing that we don't want on our resume is pictures. We don't want pictures of yourself. They don't want to know about your dog. They don't want to see a picture of your brother. Even if they are really good friends with your brother, they really don't care about your brother. They care about you and what makes you qualified for their job. Things not to do. You shouldn't have a lot of colors on your resume. You want to be consistent. So you want to have more than likely a black and white font, and maybe you can have gray sections that separate one section from another, but for the main part, we don't want a lot of color. Another thing, we don't want different fonts. You want to stay consistent. You want to have the same font throughout the whole thing. We also don't want fonts that are hard to read. So we don't want cursive. We don't want these weird letters that have a bunch of tails on them and all this other stuff. Typically stick to Times New Roman, Arial, and a couple other fonts that are just really easy to read and easy on the eyes. Another thing that we don't want to include on our resume would be cliches. You don't want to write a list of qualities of yourself. You don't want to write excellent communication skills, team player, reliable and trustworthy. These are all opinions. These are all things where it's your word against everybody else's. I can pretty much tell them that I'm the best person in the world for, I don't know, training sea lions. I know nothing about sea lions, but if I write it all on my resume that I have all the perfect qualifications, it's all an opinion. They have no way of proving it. What they want to see is they want to see examples. So say you're really, really good at working with other people. Well, then give an example of a time where you had to work with other people and explain it a little bit. Put team, like know how to work with a team behind it. You just really want to explain yourself through experiences. You don't want to just write a bunch of different qualities that you think list yourself. So for class tomorrow, I want you guys to come in and get out your laptops, and I want you to go to Blackboard, and there's a resume template on there. So I want you guys to download this template, and I want you to start filling in your own information. I want you guys to think tonight about some of the qualifications that you might have that you want to put on your resume. I want you to think of some experiences that you've had and maybe come to class with a list. So tomorrow is going to be mainly work time. I'll be walking around and I'll be helping you guys put together your resumes. I'll be answering questions, looking over your work, and honestly, I want to help you guys. I want to make suggestions for you, and I really want you to help build a great resume. So I hope you guys learned quite a bit, and I can't wait to get to work tomorrow. I'll see you guys then.